cat in the wall, eh?
All right, welcome back into the View from C Deck, and keeping with our comeback here for the beginning of the season. Direwolf, just Matt, and guys, just fans talking here, smart guys talking about stupid things, or stupid guys talking about smart things. We'll see. And we're ready to talk about impact players for this year at Ohio State. We're going to talk about the best players, who we think the best player on the team is going to be, both sides of the ball, and then an X factor maybe on both sides of the ball. But we'll start on offense, and we'll start with the best player on the offensive side of the ball. And, man, there's a lot of talent here, especially at the skill positions to talk about. But the one that sticks out to me, I'm going to go crazy right now, Casey. I'm going to say it's the true freshman, Jeremiah Smith, right away. Everybody says he's unguardable, that guys have a terrible time trying to guard him. The running backs are probably better, though, overall. So, Trey, but it's hard to pick between the two of them. And I like Emeka, but he's the slot guy. We'll see. I mean, he may become the safety blanket. But, God, what I keep hearing about this kid, and he's a true freshman, I know, but, oh, my God, it's like Maurice Claret was the best player on the offense on the 2002 team. It's not even close. Could this guy be him?
I'm not going to go that far. I was actually going to say Ibuka because of the slot, and Howard, that's not his strength going deep from everything we've seen and heard. And, so I think he turns into the security blanket. And then plus, if Smith is what we all think, they can't double Emeka. I think he has the most likely chance to have the best numbers because Trey and Quinchon are just going to split it up.
Yeah.
And then I guess it comes down to Emeka or Jeremiah Smith. I guess you could say Howard.
If they're both as good as we think, then it's probably going to be Will Howard.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm going to go with Emeka.
Okay. I mean, I have no hate on that. But, I mean, if we're having – I don't know that Smith's the greatest deep ball threat. But he's got the big body and that he can – I mean, he's a good deep ball threat, don't get me wrong, but I don't think, like, top-end speed isn't, like, his what he's actually known for.
But what Knowles said, and I sent you that text where he said, man, if it's one-on-one with that guy, you just hold your breath. And that's Knowles talking about probably the best defensive backfield in the entire country.
Yes, I was about to say, with who he's got back there, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this kid, and plus, I mean, look who the best player by far on the team was last year on offense, was Marvin. So if this guy's even like 85% of Marvin, he's probably the best player on the team again.
Yeah. Yep.
And it sounds like he may be.
And we got him for years.
Yeah. We'll do the X factor on that side of the ball, though, too. And the obvious one, so I'm going to say this. The answer is Will Howard because, obviously, he's going to be the starting quarterback almost for certain after these first 4 days of camp. If you've been reading the reports, he's the guy. He took, like, every first-team rep today on Sunday. We're doing this Sunday, August 4th. But that's cheating. It's always the quarterback, really, for any team. And I define X factor. We talked about this before. I define X factor as a true variable. If he's good, you're good. If he's bad, you're not as good as you should be. And it's going to affect you in a bad way. And if Will Howard is good, like real good, then we're probably going to be facing Georgia in the national championship game. But if he's not good, we may stay at 10-2 and be like holding our butts to see if we're even making the playoff.
Yeah.
But that's boring because everybody knows that. Go ahead.
I said, so other than him, who's the X
Other than him. Yeah, who do you have? I'll let you go first on this one.
Oh, man. I would say, I mean, this is kind of boring too, and I don't want to say an entire group, but I'll narrow it down and say Seth McLaughlin, however you say his name.
You bastard. You bastard, man.
If he's a stud and just doesn't let anybody back there, I mean, it's going to be great. But if he's got those freaking snap issues, there's going to be a long season. They'll probably move him around if that starts to be an issue. Yeah. But if he is like a stud, he was pretty much all year with Bama until the playoffs.
Depends on who you ask. Because if you ask Bama fans, he was the worst player ever that's ever existed the whole time, and that these were. I mean, he did have snap issues the whole year, though. Remember, they almost didn't score against South Florida early in the year, and a lot of that was snap issues too. Besides the fact that Milroe was bad at that point, because it was Jalen. Remember, folks, it was Jalen Milroe who got benched after that game, not Seth McLaughlin. So,
Yeah.
So Saban didn't seem to think it was all that.
Yeah. Harder than all the other fans. So.
Yeah, but I'm with you. It's Seth McLaughlin, and even though it's boring, it's if this guy can anchor down the center. Because Heisman was not good last year by most. Now he snapped the ball fine. I'll give him that. But by pretty much like PFF and just watching the games, like he was either average to below average the whole year. If we can get above average play, he's a veteran. He started for 2 years at Bama. This will be the third year starting. The snaps are good. I think he can really anchor down that line. Then we just figure out right guard. And I think we'll find one, I think. It's not that, as far as positions on the O-line go, right guards. As long as you can find something serviceable, you'll be okay. That's not getting destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But center time, that's not always the case. Centers are I think center and then left tackle are the most important positions. And he's going to be that. And if he is having bad snaps, all it takes is one, and that's a drive. Drive's dead. That's for one bad snap. Well, that's big games. That's what costs you, especially two of our big games being on the road, and then obviously the playoff against good teams. You can't have that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's the definition of an X factor because he could go either way.
It really could.
we're in the we're going to go undefeated in the regular season, I think.
Right. All right. Defensive side of the ball. Now this is where it gets interesting. Best player. There's a lot of proven guys who are over there, plus a transfer, though, that was an absolute stud last year. So I'll let you go first on this one, too. Who you got best player on the defense this year?
I hate to say it, but I feel like you have to say Caleb Downs is the best player on defense. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 guys you could mention. I mean, Tyleik Williams, freaking Jack Sawyer could be. Been hearing a lot of good stuff about Hancock. But
Denzel Burke.
Yeah. I mean, all of those guys are potential first rounders. I didn't even mention JT. But I'd say Caleb Downs, you got to say. I mean, he's the only. Did we have any All-Americans on defense last year?
On defense, Tyleik was on somebody's All-American list. I think he was, maybe PFS.
Yeah, and so I think you got to say Caleb Downs.
Yeah, I wanted to make a case for Tyleik because he was by far our most disruptive player last year, and he really for 2 years he's been all three years he's been pretty good. He led the team in sacks as a freshman, even though they were like 3 of them in one game. He had like 4.5, but that goes to show how poor our sack production's been. But yeah, it's probably him, and it's probably Caleb Downs. I mean, dude was freshman All-American, first team All-SEC, over 100 tackles, great in pass coverage, great in tackling, all over the field. Now he gets into a position where he can make even more plays than Jim Knowles' defense. And Knowles has been just praising the crap out of him too, and how much of a professional he is, and how much of a master of his craft. Like if he doesn't, I mean, he's even going to play some running back for us. So they say. No, he's not. This is Marvin Harrison returning punts last year. No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's him coming in from Bama. I mean, this could be. Safety is where we had issues last year once Ransom got injured. We had a lot of issues. So the only weakness I'd say we had.
Yeah. We can't give the same answer for every question.
We can't, but we're smart guys, so we have to. I think we might have the same answer for this one, though. What about the X factor on defense?
We are going to have the same one.
I'm going to change mine just because you said that, but go ahead.
Sonny Styles, the man, the myth, the legend. Dude's a freak. Change of positions. Sounds like it's almost a done deal that he's got C.J. Hicks beat right now. But, I mean, they'll both play a bunch, I'm sure. But only having 2 linebackers on the field limits things, obviously. You could say Cody Simon because I've heard Knowles talk in great lengths about how much he trusts him, how much he's pretty much going to be the captain of the defense, I think. So You could say him, but I'm going to say Sonny Styles.
I think Simon will do a pretty good Tommy Eichenberg impression. So I don't think he's like that much of an X factor. Yeah. Styles is a really good answer. I'll change it up just for this, and this is one we didn't really talk about, but I'll say somebody you mentioned earlier is maybe one of our best players. That's JT Tuimalau, or J Tuimalau. Now, and I say this because we've seen the absolute apex of his game. Ask James Franklin about that, because he has owned Penn State. He's looked like the freaking best player in the country against Penn State twice in a row. But then he just disappears for games, at like 3 games in a row. He won't register like a tackle for a loss. And he seems to give good effort. He seemed to get close a lot last year. Like, you'd see him get pressures. And he's got the athleticism. He's a 5-star recruit, like top 5 overall recruit. And it's not like I said he makes us bad. I don't think anybody on the defense can make us bad. Like, maybe, like, how much does an inside linebacker in a 4-2-5 really impact the defense? Like, not a ton, unless you're playing like an excellent running team, I guess, which we don't play many of those. I guess scum at the end of the year. But that's also, it's more the D-line that has to do with that. And there he is on the D-line. He's always been good against the run, too. So if he can actually, like, play at that Penn State level where he's just making plays all over the field, in coverage, wherever, then this defense goes from great to legendary, right?
Maybe
like,
best of all time.
Best of all time. Like 2002, but maybe better. Because 2002 didn't even have like an excellent pass rate. Like, Will Smith was a really good DN, but kind of like if he turns into Will Smith, even where he gets like 9.5 sacks and is A+ against the run.
Yeah.
Who's scoring on us? Who's scoring on us? I don't know.
That's a good pick too, because if he doesn't, if he sucks, we can still depend on other guys, I guess. But him dominating can really take us to the next level. Right.
And Jack Sawyer could do the same thing, but we saw him come on at the end of last year, so I don't think he's much of an X factor. I expect an All Big Ten season from him with close to 10 sacks. JT, though, like it's just so bizarre because he got all the hype coming in. I mean, he played a lot as a true freshman. Everybody's always, they go to these practices, and every year we hear, oh, look at this guy, just get off so much better, and then like the production's just never there.
Yeah.
But if the production meets the talent, baby. All right, and before we get out of here, you had one more thing you want to talk about, an idea.
Yeah, the likelihood of a Buckeye winning the Heisman this year is slim to none. I'm a betting man, and I would not bet on a single player to win the Heisman just because there's so much talent. The ball, only one ball, kind of like the 15 season is what it reminds me of. But if you could rank the 3 most likely Buckeye players to win the Heisman, who would it be? We don't want to be boring, but the obvious pick has to be Will Howard.
Yeah,
right?
He's number 6 in betting right now.
he's number 1. So let's go 2 and 3 for you and me. I'll go with my 2. I'm going to say maybe the reports are true, and Mr. Caleb Downs does get some.
Hey, you bastard! I was going to bring him up. Oh God! You're not going first anymore.
If he's a freaking All-American on defense and has like 3 touchdowns on offense or something.
He's Jabril Peppers.
Yeah.
Except for actually good.
Except for interceptions. Jabril Peppers had like 0 interceptions until our freaking game.
Yeah. JT threw him one on a tip.
Yeah. So you go 2 now, and then do the snake. You do 2 and your 3.
It took the best one. Well, okay, I'll go 2. I'll take, I want to take one of the running backs. Because say one of them gets hurt, the other one's going to be just a monster then. Mm-hmm. But I think I'll take Travion. And here's why. Is one, he's way more explosive. Now, he may not get as many touchdowns, but if he does, I feel like they're going to be on big plays. And I feel with Will Howard back there, an actual running threat, and he's not going to get as much focus on him. Shouldn't get as much focus on him. And if we're also being honest, what the weaknesses we're hearing about Howard in camp is the deep ball, right? So if I'm defensive coordinator, what am I doing? Challenge you to beat me deep. So I'm playing guys up. Well, that's how you hit home runs when guys are playing up. Like people like to always say that Cardell led to all these big plays because of his arm. No. All the big plays were happening when people weren't respecting Cardell and they were creeping up. See the 85 yards through the heart of the South when the safety's too far forward and gets blocked on the crack block by Evan Spencer. So I think with the extra eyes on Howard, he has to be accounted for in the running game. Gives a little more space for Travion. Travion was amazing last year, but just never had the blocking and never had the room to make it. His feet, though, were incredible. I think he's got to be pushed by Judkins this year, too. You start getting those highlight runs. You start ripping off an 80-yarder, and you're Reggie Bush all of a sudden. Remember, Lindell White was there when Reggie Bush won the Heisman and ran for like 1,200 yards that year. But Reggie was making the highlights, so that's why he won it.
That's a good call. I like that one. And plus, Travion's shown a lot of talent catching the ball in the backfield, too, and that could be a check down for Howard a lot of times. And I think there was 3 or 4 big runs, run after catch with Travion. So,
his freshman year, his first touchdown was like a screen pass they took for 80 yards against Minnesota.
I think we're going to see some of that this year for sure.
Yeah. And then I guess if I'm coming back, I'll go back to my top player. I'll take Jeremiah Smith if he just starts setting the world on fire. The hype for him being a freshman, we'll just start building and building and building. If he's like out there mossing people like he has been in practice, makes a couple of crazy catches. Like part of winning the Heisman is the narrative for sure. Now it's going to be hard for him because if he's doing well, then Howard will do well, obviously. But since you're making me snake here and you stole my Caleb Downs pick, that's who I got.
Oh man, I'm gonna say I was gonna go with one of the running backs too, but you picked Trey.
You can take the other.
Yeah, but I can't pick 3 transfers.
Yeah, 3 transfers.
I'll say Ibuka because he was my best offensive player.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go.
I mean, if he returns punts, which he has been in practice. Yeah. Not that I think he'll actually return them. I think it'll be a lot of this.
Yeah.
Then he could. But I mean, Downs could also be returning punts too.
Yes.
Returning for a touchdown at Alabama. So.
I wonder what his odds are to win the Heisman.
Gotta be insane. I mean, if I was quicker, I'd look him up, but I don't want to right now. Plus 100,000. I mean, it's gotta be. You have to be insane.
Yeah, I was gonna say 10,000 to 1, so plus 100,000. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wouldn't put money. Maybe throw $1 on there. I think I have I like to throw weird bets with like my extra change on my bet. I got like 67 cents. I'll just throw that on there. Win $6,700 sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right, but these guys, all these players we talked about, big expectations to lead this team to what hopefully is the promised land. It should be this year, baby. But for the Direwolf, I'm just Matt. Like, subscribe, leave us comments, tell us who you think is going to be the best player on the team this year, and we will see you guys next time. Go Bucks.
Hey, guys. Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
A rich man's world.